awesome stream. We are going to be playing some D&D tonight. I am Burling's Beard, your fabulous DM, and we are going to be playing Secrets of Hammerfast, episode 9. We finally made it, titled Dungeon Crawling Fools. This is just a little bit of an homage to one of my favorite webcomics, Order of the Stick, which also has sort of that same name, Dungeon Crawling Fools. But anyways, thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you're watching on YouTube or watching on Twitch, we really appreciate it. Feel free to shout us out in the comments. And definitely give us a subscribe or a like or a share if you get a chance or you feel so inclined. Wow, we're about this is going to mark our halfway point for the chapter that we're in for our Secrets of Hammerfast mini campaign. And we have the core crew with us tonight, which I'm so happy to have back on the stream. Let me introduce you to them now, or at least allow themselves to introduce themselves to you. First up is Kelsey playing Callie. Callie, well, how's it going, Kelsey? Everything going good?
Everything's good. Callie's excited for some adventure. She and Rimpy.
What can you tell us about Callie?
Well, she is a halfling rogue, and she was once an orphan, but is now an adventurer, and wears leather. Kind of looks like she grew up in the streets, because she pretty much did. And she has a teacup pig who is her faithful companion named Rimpleton.
I love it. What kind of weapons is Callie using? Does we see any weapons on her, or what do we know about her?
She has a dagger, and she's been known to use it, but her true preferred weapon is actually playing cards. She can do card tricks, and she has learned to throw them in a devastating, super fast card whip.
Card whip.
She can cut watermelons, orcs, just anything.
Watermelons.
And she's also somewhat of a magician, isn't she?
A little bit. She's discovered that she has the ability to produce some magic that she wasn't aware of. Maybe it's tied to her extreme dexterity and, ability around cards, but she can manifest a invisible hand, and she can be particularly charming, almost magically so, things like that.
Awesome. Well, maybe she'll get to put some of that into use tonight.
I hope.
Next, yeah, me too. Next we have Anthony playing Alaron. Can you tell us more about Alaron, Anthony?
Alaron is a half-elf who has bronze skin, a little unnatural, or rather rare for an elf. He is very lithe and athletic, and he grew up in a monastery, so he has a formal education as well as an education with the sword, which he carries a rapier with him and wears chainmail.
That's right. And he was given a magical item recently as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he has a magical helmet.
And what does the helmet do?
I'm actually not quite that sure.
You definitely.
It's made of this beautiful, reflective metal, and it gives me the ability to comprehend all languages.
There you go. That's pretty sick, actually. Yes, indeed. When you wear the helmet, you are able to cast the comprehend languages spell upon yourself, which is pretty sick, nasty. And indeed, it's sort of a metal helm that comes down. It doesn't have any eye holes, which is odd. It just has sort of a reflective surface. And then it has a cutout where your mouth might be, so that since your mouth is sort of seen while you're wearing it. Awesome. Very awesome. And Neverfate, who's joining us on the chat right now, is saying, make sure it doesn't eat your brain. So watch out for that. Magical helmets can sometimes. Good call, Neverfate. Thank you very much for that suggestion. Or warning, I guess, really, is a good. Awesome. And so Alaron also has a deed on him as well. Isn't that right?
Yes, he has. Yes, to the Glitterdark mine.
That's right.
And we're actually trying to find someone who can authenticate someone who's a relative of the original mine owner, so that we can cash in for a major quest.
Exactly. That's awesome. And last but not least, we have Pat with us playing Snorri. Hey, Pat, welcome back, man.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Great to see you. What can you tell us about Snorri?
I can tell you that Snorri is a ghost. He's a very spooky ghost that can carry books, cannot drink beer, can have cards thrown through him without him noticing. And Snorri is also deathly afraid of dying again.
Yes. The second death.
This has been haunting me quite a bit. This sounds like a joke, but this morning I woke up and was trying to contemplate what it would mean if Snorri got bloodied.
Yeah.
Snorri is, as I've mentioned, is fascinated by beauty and what the world is made up of, and I think he's going through a lot of like very introspective, literally introspective, trying to figure out what he now is.
But in his previous life, he was a magician or a wizard, an arcanist. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And,
yes, he was an arcanist.
And what school did he study?
He was in the one that I do not remember off the top.
That's okay. I believe, if I'm not mistaken,
Divination?
Divination, that's right.
There we go.
Studying divination. And both Snorri and Callie were given magical scrolls as well before they set off on their current quest. Callie was given a scroll of Find Familiar, and Snorri was given a scroll of Locate Object, specifically a divination spell. Awesome. So if you are just joining us, we are playing Secrets of Hammerfast. This is our 3rd episode of this chapter, but really our 9th episode of the campaign. Our crew has set out from the local mining village, more of a prison mining village of Glimmer Peak, and they've headed towards the nearby Glimmer Lake. You can see now in the map that we are actually in a castle. We're on the ground level of a castle. And this castle that we're in was once existing above the waters of Glimmer Lake. And an elvish, a fey castle, it sunk below the waters hundreds of years ago, centuries ago, to protect itself. Though legends still talk about it. And in the legends, the castle is always referred to as Sparkly Town Delight Castle, which is translated from the Elvish, of course. So it's more of the common tongue, of course. Elves like to name things different ways.
Elves like fun.
Elves like fun, exactly. Well, that's exactly it. Sparkly Delight Town Castle was known for its great parties and its sort of magical ability to float above the waters of the Glimmer Lake. So people would have to use boats to go out to the castle and party it up there. However, as we've mentioned, it has descended below the waters of the Glimmer Lake. And the party, the group of adventurers, our group of stalwart adventurers, has decided to go to this castle because they are looking for a specific person. They are looking for a dwarf named Glitterdark. Glitterdark is the last surviving member of the Glitterdark clan, and the group hopes, at least Alaron hopes, that he, Glitterdark, will be able to authenticate the deed that they have for the mine that they are in possession of. Additionally, though, this Glitterdark fellow is the head of the Sages Guild in the large dwarven city of Hammerfast, where our group was in the first chapter of our mini campaign. Go check that out if you get a chance. Those first six episodes are a lot of fun. We, at this point, though, have descended beneath the waters. Our party has been able to find entry into the ruined and sort of muck-encrusted castle that is now nestled on the bottom, the very bottom of the Glimmer Lake. And unfortunately for our heroes, they have found out that the castle is no longer ruled by elvish counts or fey counts, but instead at this point by the Trout Queen, who is the leader of the Trout folk, underwater dwellers who have laid siege to some time ago and then taken control of the castle. They, meaning the party, has been able to find their way into the castle by entering through a ruined tower, fighting their way past some creatures. Go check out last episode to see all that amazingness. And now have made their way to the bottom of this tower, this sort of tower, ruined tower. It almost looks like a tower of mysteries. All of the murals they've been seeing have been depicting fey creatures and elves ingesting herbs as well as smoking herbs and having these very sort of astral sort of projection-like dreams of different sort of things. And our party just very recently, and Pat, just to let you know, you might want to hit reconnect. We can't see you. The party very recently was with 3 other people, and those people have just this moment disappeared. One of them was someone who you were suspicious of, entity known as Shalbanon, who has magicked away your companions, McGrimsby and Pinalero. They are gone. You guys were in a room. You're at the bottom of this tower on the ground floor of the castle. You can see that there is sort of a, for lack of a better term, plugged up entryway. Looks like that would lead off into the ground level of the castle. It looks like stones have been used to sort of haphazardly plug it up. And you're in this room, this chamber, where there is you're in the chamber of the castle where there is a statue. The statue exists where the E is on our map. And this statue, if you remember, is a large crab. And this crab you've seen depicted on the murals of some of the astral projection dreams that the Fae were having. And additionally, at the end of last session, there was some sort of presence, an entity, or some sort of material that was coming out of a small hole in the crab statue's mouth. Alaron, you were right in front of the hole in the mouth as this sort of, as I mentioned last time, this sort of like poltergeist sort of like thing is sort of like jetting out or sort of spewing out of this dark hole. And it seems to be taking up almost like sort of a gaseous or maybe liquid type of form as it's sort of spinning around in front of you. What are you doing, Alaron, at this point?
I'm going to lift up my shield and take a defensive stance. What is this?
Cool. You should make an Arcana check. Callie, what are you doing?
At first, I was going to run over to where Shalbanon was and kind of look at the ground and look around, but I think when I look up and I see this apparition starting to appear, I'm going to jump behind Alaron and peek out.
Cool. Yeah, you're sort of hiding behind Alaron. Could you make a stealth check for me, please, at this point? And how about for you, Snorri? What are you doing right now?
I think Snorri's just going to also kind of float back, but not hide behind Alaron. I think he's going to float and try to go a little bit higher.
Definitely. Yeah. So you sort of floating a little bit above Alaron's shoulder. So you guys are sort of floating or standing behind Alaron. Callie, what'd you get on your stealth check?
20.
Cool. And Alaron, what did you get on your Arcana check?
18.
Oh, that is a great roll. And Snorri, why don't you make an RS at this time as well, please? Alaron.
What was that? Sorry.
Arcana.
Okay. That was a 9.
What'd you get? A 9. Yep, Snorri, this creature, you think it's made out of water. So do you, Alaron. You're not sure what it might be, though. Alaron, you are pretty sure what this is. You think this is an elemental creature of some type. You think this is a guardian of some type. You have read about these types of creatures in your monastery before, and you believe that it indeed is some sort of guardian. And as it's sort of coming out and, like I said, forming, it seems to be taking on the form of like the best way I can put it is like a sort of a lamprey or some sort of underwater snake or something like that. It has a very large sort of flat head and jaws that are sort of opening. It is sort of sinuous, and it doesn't look like it's like getting ready to strike you. Looks like it is trying to take of you. You believe that this creature. You believe that this creature is some type of summoned creature. That it probably was summoned here somehow. Probably, who knows how or when. You get the sense probably by the elves, because this place is sort of ruined and bricked up, it looks like, or boarded up as it were. The trout folk don't really dwell here or come here. So it's very possible that this creature that's manifesting in front of you has not buddy in centuries. And it isn't doing anything besides just sort of moving back and forth.
Is it even looking at me?
It's hard to tell where its eyes are exactly, but yes, you do get the sense that it is looking at you specifically. Yes.
I speak up in common. Oh no, actually no, I speak up in Elvish. Guardian of this sacred ground, what is your purpose here?
It sort of ripples. It's sort of an odd thing where it's like an onion is being peeled. Like it's like the ripples of its face are peeling off as it's almost like it's pushing forward, and it is getting really close to you as like this lamprey underwater reptile vision or that it is putting out. This form sort of peels away, and a very much a face like my own sort of appears. Sort of no hair, and just sort of like this sort of silhouette of a face appears in it. The face is neither human nor elven. It seems very alien in that it isn't a shape that you recognize. However, it does respond. The face does as it goes. Use. I know what languages you guys speak.
Say it again. I lost you for a second, Ken.
None of you understand this language, if it is speaking a language.
I put my finger to my temple, and I try to activate the magic within my helmet, and I try to refocus on the creature's words.
Cool, Snorri. What are you doing?
Snorri's gonna slowly like float forward and try to like take in the face. Try to gain it. I guess what Snorri's trying to do is see if it's a creature type that he would know.
Definitely. Okay. I think at this point you can make a nature check, Snorri. And Callie, how about you? Anything you're doing? You and Rimpy?
Well, we're hiding, but I'm getting a mage hand ready. I want to see if I can turn it invisible and creep it towards that statue and start to like touch the statue and find if there's any kind of buttons or any weird things on it.
Yes. Okay, cool. What did you get, Snorri?
21.
Nice roll. Yeah, you start to realize a little bit more clearly what this is. You think that this is a summoned elemental. As such, it probably speaks in some sort of elemental language. You are aware that water elementals, since this sort of has more of a watery look to it, that water elementals often speak or understand the language of Aquin. And Alaron, as you are concentrating on the map, your helmet begins to sort of glow a little bit. And basically, your helmet is an odd thing because putting it on, it doesn't have. So it's like you sort of put it on, and only your mouth is visible. And so it's interesting. Once you activate the magic, it's almost like a
That was really
see
getting into that.
the helmet.
Wait, can you repeat that? You dropped out.
Yeah. You can see as the magic activates, you can see through the metal of the helm, and so now you can see that much more clearly, and you can definitely start to understand this creature. It is seemingly speaking in a language, and it is saying to you, "I have not seen your type in some time. I thought I would be alone forever. Why are you here? Have you come to raise the castle?"
Raise the castle?
Yes, yes. And you are all hearing Alaron speaking in Common, or rather Elvish. Do any of you speak Elvish?
No.
Yes.
Cool. So Snorri, you're understanding what Alaron is saying, but not what how the creature is responding. Callie, all of this is just gibberish to you. You don't know what's going on. Your mage hand is invisible, and it's sort of like feeling around the statue. And you are getting the sense that this statue has no seams. It doesn't look like that it was created by hand. You think that it was probably created by magic. It's the stone is too smooth. The statue is one piece of stone. It doesn't look like it was fitted together out of blocks or anything like that, or chiseled from different pieces. It's just too perfect, and it definitely goes along with sort of this underwater theme that the castle has. All of the decorations you've seen, many of them are crabs or sort of are fish or stuff like that. At this point, though, the creature is saying to you, Alaron, "Yes, in the Count's tower, the magic to raise and lower the castle."
Are you stuck here?
This is my home now, not my home before.
I see. Do you wish to travel so you can speak to others?
I do not travel. Summoned me. But the Count is gone. All that remains is dreams.
What else?
Callie, can you make an investigations check for me, please? Go ahead, Alaron.
Lost my track of thought for a second. 20, nice. What else can you tell me about the keep?
I have not been outside of this chamber, but if you seek love, if you seek feasting, if you seek a Rest. The oblivion of rest. Search out the towers.
Thank you. Perhaps is there anything that you request?
I wish to feel the air again.
Are there any like weak walls or anything like in the area?
No. You've seen the ruined walls are in the chambers above you, where they're sort of submerged, or half submerged, the case may be. The only weak sort of wall that you see might be that plugged up entryway that you can see on the map is just to your south, basically. That's where the entry and exit to this chamber is. But at this point, it's plugged up. Callie, you are searching around with your mage hand, and you are you got a 21, you said, on your investigation check?
22.
22, pardonnez-moi. And so, yeah, you're definitely able to find a secret cache, basically. You, as you're feeling around with your mage hand, you basically press what looks to be just a regular part of the statue of the crab, and it's sort of on its front chest, and it's almost like a glove box, just sort of like a little sort of thing just sort of flips down. And inside of there it smells like, the best way I can put it is it's like musty and desiccated, like there used to be organic material in here that is then sort of rotted over centuries and then turned into just sort of stains, I guess, as far as you can see from hiding behind Alaron. Snorri, anything you want to do at this point?
Sorry, was that for me?
Yeah, anything you want to do at this point?
I'll take a look around the room. I feel like the murals were painted on the walls; they're not necessarily framed.
That's right. So there are these faded murals that are painted on all the walls here that surround you. And you've seen them up above as well, where they weren't waterlogged and destroyed. And the murals on the walls basically depict sort of this use of these enchanted herbs, either ingesting them or smoking them, brewing them into teas, and then consuming them. And then these fey creatures, elves, fauns, dryads, different types of creatures have these sort of dreams, though you've noticed and recognized them more as astral projections of themselves that go into the astral plane. And all of the murals sort of point towards sort of this larger sort of center image, which is behind the crab statue, and itself is a crab. And so it almost seems like its shadow is sort of behind it on the wall, in more of a spectral astral form.
Okay. I'm going to, whatever it is that they're ingesting, the leaves, the herbs, or whatever you were describing.
Yes.
I'm going to try to commit that, like the image of that leaf or whatever, to memory.
Yes. Yeah, you're definitely able to do that. Yeah. You're definitely looking at it really closely. Alaron, what are you doing? Or saying?
The last thing he said is that he wanted to feel wind. So Callie.
Yeah.
Oh wait, she's hiding behind me. So
She is.
I turn around. Do you think you could create a small gust of wind or something that would feel like fresh air?
Sure. So I'm gonna point right at the creature and use prestidigitation to create this subtle, nice puff of wind at his face.
Okay. Awesome. As you do, it's almost like the creature shakes in pleasure, almost like a dog or a cat or something like that. It's just like shaking. It begins to morph again, changing from the humanoid or humanish face back into just a featureless sort of blob that's just sort of like vibrating. You do see what look like tendrils starting to come out the sides of the creature a little bit, but they're sort of wafting up, almost like smoke or something like that, but they're attached to it. And it doesn't dissipate or disappear. It's almost like ribbons or something like that that are sort of floating up from it. And they are also sort of shaking in delight. Yeah.
I'd do it again.
And at this point, the creature starts to sort of wend its way around the two of you, Callie and Alaron. It's almost like a snake or something like that. It's doing it slowly, so it hasn't like totally, circumnavigated you a number of times, but it's starting to do that. Snorri, you're getting the sense that this creature is not paying attention to you. It just doesn't seem to have any. It just doesn't seem to have any conception or interest in you. Apparently, one of its tendrils even sort of goes through you, part of you, which is sort of odd. It just sort of does that. Yeah, which is sort of weird. It sort of goes through your ghostly shape. And this stone chamber that you're in is dry. It's musty. It definitely has some dust on the floor that you guys have been sort of messing up with your walking around. But other than that, there really isn't anything else in here. That being said, the glove box that was in the statue has sort of.
Uh-oh. Can reconnect.
Yeah.
We lost you.
Oh, you lost me?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Uh-oh.
That's not good. Okay. So I will reconnect. Sorry about that, everybody.
That's okay.
It's
Can hear you
good.
now.
We can still hear you.
Oh, good. Yep. It's important. And so,
You're back.
yep, I am back. A little bit of technical difficulties. It happens sometimes with streams, but that's okay. You guys can see that, and thanks, Never Fate, Tommy, for letting us know on the chat that you lost a DM as well. We always love to get feedback from the chat. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate our fans and the people who help us out. The chat is so awesome all the time. But for now, there are a few different things going on. So I'll get actions again. Callie, what are you doing generally?
Well, so I heard you say something about the glove box. It hit open, and then that's kind of when I lost you.
Yeah, that's right. It sort of opened, and it looks like, for lack of a better term, like mushrooms exploded in there. So the best way I can put it is, it looks like that sort of like cottony, sort of webby, sort of remains of something that is spoiled and like has degenerated and sort of come apart. Something organic that has basically rotted and then turned into just nasty spores, as it were, and then lost all that because it just stopped being alive. So there's just sort of a weird jumble of matter in there. You're not sure exactly what's in there.
I'm gonna bring my mage hand back, and I'm gonna be like, all right, Rimpy, it's time to investigate. And I'm gonna put him on the hand and then float him up to the little hatch. So
you're using your mage hand to float Rimpy up to
he's like way taller than me, so yeah. When he's up there.
We applaud this. Yes, you are a halfling. The glove box, as for lack of a better term, might be a little bit taller than you are. So you're floating Rimpy up there so he can check it out.
And he can smell truffles. He has hunted truffles before.
He has hunted truffles. And Rimpleton, investigation piglet, says never failed.
Inspector Rimpy is on the case.
Indeed. And he starts going in there basically and checking it out and sort of putting his head in and sniffing around. And basically you see him like his front half goes in. So his little legs are sort of kicking out a little bit as he just goes deeper and deeper in there. And you can hear that he's making sounds that are pleased. They're pleased sounds. And as he sort of shuffles his little cute butt with his curly little cute tail to sort of shuffle himself back out of the hole, he's pushing himself back with his little legs. He comes back out and his head is just covered in this sort of black, icky sort of like webbing, sort of that's sort of like smushed all over his face in different ways. Gives him sort of like a weird, like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Predator camouflage look. And additionally, clasped in his mouth is a small vial. It seems to be made out of ceramics, maybe, and it has like it looks like a pretty desiccated but still operating cork sort of stopper in it, and he has that sort of in his mouth as he's sort of like coming out.
Good find. Bring him back.
As that's happening, Alaron, you can see that the creature, the watery creature, this water elemental, it seems to have stopped and is watching what's happening. And it sort of, the best way I can put it is that it's like its hackles go up. Like all those sort of like ribbons and sort of tendrils that have been coming up from its form, they all stiffen and they all go right into the middle of its form. Almost like a mohawk or like a frill going down its spine, even though it doesn't really have a spine. And you're getting the sense that something is wrong as it says, "You have not invoked the visions."
How do we invoke the visions?
It does not respond. But everyone can make an insight check.
8.
8.
19.
Oh, nice.
7.
7. Yeah, Callie, you and Snorri, you guys are unsure of what's going on, especially since you can't understand the creature at all. You get the sense that its demeanor has changed, but why or to what, you're not exactly sure. Alaron, you've been interacting with this creature. You've been talking with it. You get the sense that this creature is becoming more hostile, and though it's an interesting feeling, or rather interesting observation, in that it's not like it's mad. It's almost like a switch has been turned where it was like, okay, I'm in like neutral mode, and now I'm in like guardian mode. So it's where it's like something is happening, pretty obviously that something is being taken from it, that it is, it looks like it's probably going to become hostile. Not necessarily because it doesn't like you, because that's what it exists to do in some cases.
I motioned to Callie. Wait, actually, am I able to notice all this stuff been going on in Rimpleton?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Flying pig.
I take a look at Callie
Flying pigs are not normal. Yeah, exactly.
Without making any sudden movements, I slowly move over to Callie. Say, Callie, I think you might need to put that back.
I don't.
Might end up with trouble.
I hate putting stuff back. Oh. All right. I'm gonna say, Rimpleton, just kind of like put it back. You know.
Make an animal handling check, please.
Let's see. A lemon.
A lemon.
A lemon.
He has a mind of his
All right.
own, I tell you.
here is the time where we're going to pilot this. You can, with your lemon, choose to succeed on this roll, but you will be at disadvantage on your next roll, whatever it is.
I'll take it.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Very good. So you succeed on the roll. You're able to convince Rimpy to let it go out of his mouth because he's much like you. He does not like to put things back either.
I hate it.
And as we all know, Rimpy's been looking for a crown for a long time. Maybe this would have led to that somehow. So he starts like, meh, like he's just like, all pouting and all porcine, unhappy. And he just sort of meh, like just sort of deposits back in the glove compartment. As he does, you can all sort of see it. It does look like it is a ceramic vial. It's probably about the size of my finger, and it is quite thin, and it has a stopper in the top, a cork stopper, and the outside of it seems to have been painted. The paint has faded over the centuries and definitely has sort of been leached out by the organic material that was inside of there with it. But you guys can all make a perception check to see what you like. And Callie, you're obviously at disadvantage on this check.
Oh, that's true.
Oh,
5.
yeah.
7.
7.
5.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, you all see the flash of what might be some sort of marking on there, but you're not sure what it is as it sort of disappears back into that glove box. As that happens, the watery elemental creature, it definitely sort of goes back into chill mode, where it's sort of more languid and it sort of hackles, sort of just sort of like just sort of fade and sort of disintegrate back into these sort of like tenderly sort of like watery looking appendages that are coming off of it.
Cool.
I stick my tongue out at it. Nah.
And as you do that, it becomes a tongue. Like its entire form, just like blue, like it just peels away, and it seems like it is mimicking you. Where it's just your tongue is now this thing. This thing is now your tongue.
Too much.
It's just like a huge tongue.
I try to
remember that the terminus of this thing is coming out of the big mouth of the crab. So it looks like very oddly, exactly like a huge crab tongue is now around you guys, and it is definitely like sort of like circled the room a few times. It's sort of like coiled up around you and not close, but loosely sort of within 10 feet of you.
So since this thing, does it still seem to be ignoring me?
Make an insight check, Nori.
All of my dice are betraying me tonight.
Does seem to be ignoring you. Mighty 2. Yeah, it's definitely ignoring. It's definitely ignoring you.
Sure. Yeah, of course it is. Why would anybody pay attention to me? Is the what do you call it? The box in the statue, is that still open, or is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it has not been closed. The secret sort of cache, if you will, was opened by Callie's mage hand, just sort of randomly searching around the statue. And so it opened, and inside were apparently where it maybe these herbs were stored in the past.
Okay, I'd like to try to go over to it. Probably when it's like, I don't know, looking at the two of them and try to sneak over and just like see what I missed on that file.
Okay, cool. And you're just floating over there. Awesome. Okay. Alaron, what are you doing?
Is the creature addressing me now? Am I able?
It's a big tongue at this point, so it's not really addressing anyone per se.
I say back to it. Can you tell us about the rites?
Okay. And Callie, what are you doing?
I'm gonna make like the craziest faces I can to try to get it to imitate me.
Okay, awesome. I would love for you to make a performance check for me, Callie.
Awesome. 14.
Nice, yeah. It seems to be way more interested in you, Callie, than it does to be in Alaron. Alaron, you're speaking a language it understands, apparently, Elvish, but it doesn't seem to be paying attention to you anymore, and seems to be way more interested in what Callie is doing. And Callie, the tongue itself continues to be a tongue, except the very tip of it, which peels away, and you see now your sort of a halfling face like yours. And it seems to be trying to do the same things you're doing, but it just doesn't have that quote unquote muscle abilities. So its face is sort of oddly distorting in weird ways and like opening and just doing weird sort of general sort of imitations of you without being
Terrifying.
exact.
Terrifying. Oh man. I'm gonna try to keep it kind of distracted because I think I see Snorri sort of like making a run for it.
I would love for you to make a deception check at this point then.
Let's see. 13.
13. Alaron, what are you doing?
After I asked the question, did it respond in any way? Oh, it didn't respond.
No. It seems to be very focused on Callie.
Seeing what's going on here, I'm going to take a defensive posture. Not all out defensive, but just I'm trying to remain alert to whatever is about to happen.
Totally. Snorri, you're just floating over there, I take it, right?
Yes, yeah. I'm floating as quietly as I can.
Why don't you just make a stealth check for us?
Sure.
Why not you just do it? Go ahead.
14.
Awesome. So you're floating over there, and you're able to basically stick your head, I assume that's sort of what you're doing, into this thing. And you have dark vision as a dwarf, so you can definitely see now the symbol more closely on it. And you can see that the symbol is some sort of an elvish rune, you believe, and you do speak Elven, and you are a wizard. You believe that this rune marks this vial as the best way I can put it is a gateway to the astral plane.
Neat.
Yeah.
Tiny gate.
Tiny gate. Tiny Rick. Sorry, I had to throw that
Man.
Okay, so I take there's nothing else of interest in this.
No, it looks to you like that there may have been other things in here at some point in the far past, but they've all just basically entropy has taken its toll and they've disintegrated effectively.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave that vial there, and I'm gonna float out to the crab statue's mouth.
Yeah.
Where the giant tongue is coming out, and try to like see if I can like see into the mouth or like if
it's being completely filled up by the watery creature's terminus, basically. So you can't really see in there very easily. Callie, as you're sort of distracting the creature, it's playing with you, it's having a lot of fun, and then it sort of stops and sort of turns its head to the side, almost like, or its form, almost like it's cocking its head or something like that. And it goes blah, 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 blah towards you, which is what it's been saying the whole time it's been talking with Alaron. Alaron, you can understand this creature. And it says to Callie, "Why do you attempt to deceive me?"
I tell Callie that the ruse, he sees through the ruse. He wants to know why you're doing it.
It's showbiz. I'm like, show must go on. I take Rimpy out and I start like, Rimpy, do your dance.
Awesome. Yeah, Rimpy starts doing his dance a little bit, and he goes up on his hind legs. His back legs are up. He's doing his little dance, and the creature seems to be sort of entranced by this for a moment. But yeah, it doesn't really do or say anything else. It just sort of seems to sort of be looking at you now, watching you.
I take out a deck of cards and I'm like, pick a card. Water thing. I pan the deck.
Awesome. Yeah.
I don't even know if it understands.
One of its sort of like tendrils sort of snakes out. No, it does. Unfortunately, no, that doesn't happen. I'm sorry. It doesn't seem to understand what you're saying, Callie. It doesn't seem to understand the common tongue.
I'm like, Aileron, tell him to pick a card.
What? I don't think this is going to work. I think we might agitate it if we continue down this path.
Snorri, is Snorri still in the trapdoor? Or in the mouth?
No, he floated out to look at the mouth a little bit more. You can all see him. I mean, it's not like he's hidden from you.
And Snorri, did you take the vial again, or is it still in the thing?
I did not. I left it in there.
I'll put my deck of cards away and I'll be like, I can't do free shows, man. I'm going to need some money. This is how I make my earnings, my keep. Show's over. Rimpy abruptly stops dancing.
He's just like shutting it down.
As Snorri sees, I feel like at this distance, Snorri can tell that Callie was trying to like buy him some time and whatever. And he sees the deck of cards go away. Snorri's going to float over to them, directly in front of this creature, and going to use mold earth on a stone wall behind me and try to write what I know to be the runes for friendship or something along those lines in Elvish.
That's really cool. Yes. Okay. Yeah, you're writing the runes. And what are you doing, Aileron?
While he's writing, you were telling me about the rites. I say to the creature in Elven. It ignores me.
It does. You can make an insight check.
That's an 18.
Yeah, you get the sense that you haven't asked it a question. You just made a statement.
Oh.
So it doesn't, it's an alien basically. It doesn't seem to have social graces or social cues, don't really work with it. It isn't a social creature per se in that way. Or if it is a social creature, the society it comes from or the culture it knows is vastly different than yours, vastly alien.
I get it. Hey guys, are we gonna stay around this room much longer?
Well, if I can't steal that, I mean, nah.
Okay. We should silently move towards the door and see if there's anything on the other side.
Snorri, your efforts are not in vain. The creature does notice the symbols that you're making on the wall, but it doesn't respond in any way.
Okay. Snorri's gonna try to. Before he turns around to follow Callie and Aileron, he's gonna place himself directly in front of the creature, wherever he deems its face to be, and give it kind of like a nod and a wave. And just
make an insight check, please. It doesn't react at all to what you're doing.
Oh no.
Go ahead and roll with advantage on this check, please, since you've been around this creature for a little while.
Thank you very much. God, yeah, it was 2 1s.
You rolled 2 1s. You rolled
Tonight,
the real a lemon.
Yeah. Oh.
Snake Eyes.
Snake eyes.
Tonight is not my night for a real one.
The quote unquote ghetto lemon, as I've heard it referred to in the past. I don't know how I feel
That
about that
dice
term.
is going to.
Yeah, something is
Nice.
really weird here, but Callie, Alaron, why don't you both make insight checks as well at this point?
I rolled a 1 also. Oh, I'm lucky though. I had that
You
ability.
do. You're lucky. Reroll.
A 2.
Ooh.
We're doing great. We're doing great.
Yeah, you're doing so good. You're doing great. You're doing great. Alaron, how about you?
I got a 5.
Okay, yeah. You guys are all a little too distracted with the things that you're distracted with. Callie, you're distracted by wanting to get the vial. Alaron, you're distracted with wanting to leave. Snorri, this creature is you cannot make heads or tails of it. The best I can give you is that it is ignoring you, as it just doesn't want anything to do with you, apparently.
Okay. Great. Snorri's gonna float down to Callie and Alaron and just say, I think I just made a friend.
Yeah, he liked you. I can tell he liked you.
Yeah.
He did.
I didn't get an opinion either way about how he felt about you.
No, I'm feeling pretty good about this.
No, I'm sure he liked him.
You guys are optimistic. It's okay.
Yes.
All right, so shall we leave if you have nothing else, now that you've made your friend?
Well, I feel like you don't have to say it like that. And Snorri's just gonna float off into the next room.
So you're Snorri floating through where the sort of the stones have been plugged into the entryway. He's just floating through that. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Snorri's a little embarrassed. So.
Totally. Also, chat, our good friend Never Fate has said he's never seen anyone use mold earth for something useful. So well done.
Nice.
Thank you.
Very cool. Awesome. So Snorri disappears through the wall, through the plugged up doorway, as it were. Again, it's not like it's bricks and mortar. It just looks like debris was basically stacked up and sort of put in here. What are you two doing, Alaron and Callie?
I'm gonna see if I can start digging my way through that rubble in anywhere.
Sure. What are you using to dig your way through? Just your hands or something else?
Is there any implement or any lever in the room? Thing I could use as a lever?
No. I mean, I guess you could try and break off a crab claw or something like that, but no.
Then I'm just gonna use my hands and see if I can just move the heaviest rocks I can.
Totally. And Callie, what are you doing?
I guess I'm gonna help. I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
dragging rocks.
Alaron, go ahead and make an athletics check with advantage as Callie is helping you. It'll take you guys a number of minutes to make a hole that's large enough for you to get through. But let's see how many minutes it takes. Alaron, what'd you get?
A 13?
A 13, that's pretty good. It will probably take you, with just the two of you working on it, to make a hole for you large enough to get through without having everything collapse down on you. It probably takes a solid, half hour, honestly. Snorri, you have floated through since you're a ghost. I am going to expand what can be seen on the map. You'll all be able to see it, though this is really for just Snorri at this point. So Snorri, this is what's revealed to you. You can see that there's a courtyard that is here. Additionally, you realize that above you, this courtyard is like a large sort of dome. It's covered, of course, with muck, so there isn't any light that comes through. You have dark vision, so it's easier for you to see in here than most people. And you can definitely tell that this courtyard has a number of other sort of exits from it. The courtyard sort of has exits from sort of, for lack of a better term, over sort of, there's a central tower, excuse me, that's sort of rising up in front of you. And you can see that there's an exit by the D that's sort of down there. And you can also see, I'll reveal this a little bit more clearly, that there is another exit over, it looks like it goes into another tower. Other than that, there are walls basically hedging you in, and a ceiling that's hedging you in as well, the dome I mentioned. Okay. The other thing, though, it is that as you float out, you can see that there are, it looks like that there are probably about 4 trout folk. They look like some sort of guard patrol. They seem to be coming out of the around the corner from this sort of central tower that you're seeing rising in front of you. The central tower is sort of high enough that it actually pokes above where the dome is, so you can't see the tippy top of it, but you get the sense that the tippy top of it is in water, of course. It would be above the dome. And you can see, though, as these trout folk guards are sort of walking towards your location, that they are wearing, it looks like, crab breastplates. It looks like that they're wearing, maybe, and that they have sort of these sort of shields that are made out of crab. It also looks like that they are carrying these odd-looking weapons. All of them are mostly pole arms. One of them, the pole arms, seem to be very vicious. They're sort of U-shaped with like teeth coming out of the sides, or they're sort of like M-shaped, and the M's are just blades. And they're all at the end of these long sort of stone poles. Additionally, you see one of them does not seem to be carrying a shield at all, and seems to instead be carrying some sort of very archaic and not trout folk looking made at all harpoon gun, for lack of a better term. It looks like some sort of large projectile within. It's like a crossbow, but the crossbow, it doesn't have any of the teeth, if you will, of the bow part of the crossbow. It's just a single sort of thing. And as you're looking, as you're seeing these creatures, there's 4 of them, like I mentioned. What would you like to do? This is right as you float through.
Good boy. Okay, and I can hear them digging. I can hear these guys walking. I'm as quickly as possible gonna try to bamf into the ethereal plane.
You are easily able to bamf into the ethereal plane. As you do that, you become sort of this shimmering cloud, right? Whereas before you're a spirit, you are, of course, semi-translucent, so people can see through you for the most part, but your form is discernible. You're a dwarven man, you have a beard, you know, you don't have legs, obviously. You sort of drift off into this sort of ethereal form, or rather more of a spirit form. But when you're in the ethereal plane, your form is basically completely translucent. It becomes just sort of a weird shimmer in the air. And you've used it many times in the past to hide from people. As you are just sort of, I assume you're just, are you moving at all?
I'm gonna actually try to move to, I imagine there's some form of light source, some light leaking in a little bit.
From the dome, there is a little bit, but you actually see it more in the sort of, for lack of a better term, the southern parts of the castle. Where you are, there's a lot more muck that's covering the dome. So it is quite dark here. In fact, your dark vision was definitely helping you see out to a sort of a length of 60 feet, and that's what how you sort of got a glimpse of these trout folk coming around the corner.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to skirt to like a ceiling corner and try to hug the ceiling as much as possible, staying out of their vision.
Totally. So they move pretty quickly. They are, as you've sort of turned ethereal and you start to float up, they've sort of come upon you. They're within about 30 feet of you. And it is the eeriest, weirdest thing. All of them stop and look directly at you and start to track you. Like they are tracking the movement of you in the ethereal plane. They are looking directly at where you are. And as you sort of float up higher and higher and higher, to sort of like the dome is probably a good, I would say 90 feet above you. As you get higher up, they start to look a little bit more confused about where you might be. But you definitely get the sense that they were able to track you as you started to move in the ethereal plane. And that being the case, they sort of are stopping and they're looking around very, very closely at what's going on. What would you like to do?
Am I able to see out any of those exits from my height?
Yes, you are. The height definitely allows you to see further. Things are able to see sort of, you're basically able to, let me do it this way. So what I'll do is I will hide the tower here, but what I will also do is I will reveal these other parts that are sort of near it. So you're basically sort of able to now get more of a sense of what the castle sort of writ large sort of is doing. That's about, you can see that there's like another courtyard effectively sort of on the other side of these walls that you've been seeing, and some entryways into other things. You're also seeing that there are effectively 4 towers, not including the central tower. You are I've come from the north east one, if you want to call it that. There's a northwest one as well that's across from you. And then looking south, you see a southwest and a southeast one as well. And that's sort of what you're seeing. All of these towers are 3 stories so that they jut up above the dome, just like the tower you came out of does as well. And that's what you're seeing.
Okay. Do I see any more trout folk?
Yes, in fact, you do. You see more trout folk that are sort of milling around, not milling, that looks like they're moving with purpose. Where the sea is in that sort of lower courtyard, you see them sort of crisscrossing that there's one group crisscrossing it now, basically.
Okay.
And they do look like guards as well. And there are also some non-guards in that larger courtyard that are scurrying around that look like they may be bringing food somewhere or something like that, or they're laborers carrying stuff. They're definitely not wearing armor or having weapons. You get the sense that the trout folk, that it's not just a military presence here, that there's a society of them that live here.
Okay. Cool. Where would you say the ones that were tracking me? Where would you say they are right now?
Effectively, they are just to the northwest of that D. If they are right, I can do this, can't I? They're right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Are they still looking in my general direction, or have they?
No, but they're looking all around, and their eyes are on the sides of their heads. Their heads are sticking out really far. They are humanoid, but they're sort of hunched over, like they don't really have necks per se. It's almost like their heads are just like jammed into their torsos, and then their sort of shoulders and arms sort of come out. They don't look like overly strong, but they look strong enough, strong enough to be warriors. But you can make an insight check, I think, at this point.
13.
13. Yeah, you get the sense that they don't know where you are, but they are looking for you, or looking for whatever they noticed. They have stopped their patrol and they are now looking around. It doesn't look like they've been able to pinpoint where you are in the ethereal plane, or the sort of the shimmer that is what
Okay.
left of you on the mid.
That central tower, am I too high up to see into the first floor?
No, you are not. However, oddly enough, this central tower doesn't have really any windows on the first or second floor.
Okay.
And the central tower is, like I said, sticking above the dome. And you remember seeing the central tower as you were swimming down. It had these odd constructions on the pinnacle of it. And if you remember, I described them, for lack of a better term, as looking like satellite dishes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then the door, not where D is, but on the left side.
Sure. Yeah.
Is that an open entryway?
It is, and you can actually see that it looks to you like that there are sort of more guards that are traveling out of that door and then maybe into the central tower and vice versa.
Okay. All right. What I would like to do is go out the exit that's on the northern wall, one of those cracks in the wall.
Sure.
And I'm going to go out the back to the crack in the wall at E.
Yeah.
And meet up with Callie and Aileron.
Totally. So Callie, Aileron, you guys have basically been working probably for about a good 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. You haven't seen Snorri at all. You assume he's probably waiting for you on the other side or who knows what. And then Snorri, I don't even think that they recognize that you're a peer. You just sort of float through the wall behind them. The watery creature has retreated into its crab, so it's no longer there. And what would you like to do?
I would like to float up in between them.
Yeah.
Hey guys. Hey. So.
Oh, it's just Snorri.
No, sorry. First of all, great idea what you're doing. I think you're doing great work. However, lot of trout folk on the other side of that. Like, I counted 4, and then I saw a bunch more. So I stopped counting, but it's a lot. I feel like they didn't like seeing me in there. Yeah, in retrospect, probably shouldn't have just floated through that wall, but here we are. I'm just saying they creeped me out and they had weapons, and I don't want to die again.
Yeah, I feel like you don't get to die twice. You'd probably just like disappear into the abyss or something. I mean,
I'm just
that
saying,
won't happen.
If we're going in there, we should be like extra careful. Because if they have guards walking around, that's weird, right?
Yeah, I mean,
not if they're worrying about some other presence. I mean, it's kind of natural for any society to have guards.
Yeah. Well, do you think they're worried about Jeff? And Snorri just kind of motions backwards.
I don't think they've been in this room, or maybe they just don't like it.
Maybe they don't even know it's here.
It's true.
Well,
Ken, is there any way of telling how recent this construction's been? Has it been sitting here for years, or is this
definitely make a history check?
That's 6.
Great. Yeah, you are unsure. You get the sense that it's probably been possibly. You are very unsure. You, in a general sense, you think as a long-lived sort of race yourself, you're a half-elf. You think that this has not been here that long. Like, it doesn't have the signs of like calcification or any sort of thing like that. In your eyes, this may have been put here anywhere within you know, yeah, anywhere within maybe the last maybe like 5 decades to 1 decade. You're not sure exactly. It hasn't been a long time. It's been some time though.
Okay. Well,
Um,
go ahead, Snorri.
is that information that you would share with us?
No, unless you asked. This.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
It seems like it's been here for a pretty long time.
Snorri, as a dwarf, you have stone cunning. You can
Yes.
also make a history check and add double your proficiency bonus if you would like. Callie, what are you doing right now?
I guess I'm trying to look around. There's no other exit out of this room, right?
The only other exit is the one you came through, which is the stairs that lead back the way you came to the half submerged room above you, and then to the completely submerged room above that, and then obviously back out into the Glimmer Lake at large.
Oh, well, I don't think we have any other way except to go forward, so
I agree with Kelly.
Yeah.
maybe if we sneak through or something, maybe if we catch it right at the right timing, we can get off the main floor into somewhere and hide.
They saw me in my like bonus ghost form. Like I hid, and they saw me.
Oh no. Well, I don't know.
We can try communicating with them.
I feel like maybe we should bring. Well, yeah, that's a great idea. I almost had a real bad idea, so I won't say that.
Snorri, what did you get on your history check?
I got a 20.
20. Thank you very much. That is very good. Your stone cunning gives you sort of more of a sense of what's going on here. And you realize that this being plugged up, that this has definitely happened in the grand scheme of things. Like this, castle disappeared underneath the lake, like 500, 600 years ago.
Correction on
yes?
that math. I got a 27. I read the wrong value.
So you
Or wait, no, 24. Sorry.
I assume you didn't crit it, but you did pretty good, is what it seems like.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Very cool. And so you are definitely able to get the sense that, like I said, that it's been here for a while, but not like that crazy long. And it's basically, it's sort of like that you get the sense that this was not done by practiced hands. This was done by a people who don't really know how to build things for themselves. You get the sense that this was probably done by the trout folk, that they obviously don't really build their own. You have heard rumors that they live in caves and that sort of thing. But it seems like that they have obviously been able to take over this castle somehow. You get the sense that this sort of construction, as it were, was done basically probably within like the last 20 years, like pretty recently. In terms of the scheme of things, you get the sense that had the trout folk taken over, that's when the trout folk took over this castle. You think it was maybe 20 years ago because they plugged up this ruined tower, Maybe this is even the way they got into the castle at first, is they bashed their way through the tower up above you to go through this way. Who knows what could be the case, but you are definitely getting a weird sense in the pit of your stomach that the trout folk have only come to this place recently. And then that gives you an even sort of weirder realization that, well, if this castle descended beneath the waves 500 years ago, who is the fuck has been here the last, 420 years before the trout folk took it over. And why did it take the trout folk so long to try and take it or to succeed in taking it over? You're getting the sense that there may, in fact, be some sort of presence that was here. And that then leads you to remember the one tower that was still sparkling when you were swimming down. It was surrounded by sharks and by trout folk who seemed to be guarding it somehow. And I think that's where we're going to end for tonight.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm not ready to stop.
I know. I'm not ready to stop either, but we must, unfortunately. Well, this has been a great session. Once again, thank you all so much. We are getting right into the meat of the Sparkly Town Delight Castle. We will return next week, Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Definitely give us a look-see if you get a chance. I have been Burling's Beard. Ken Breeze. I've been very happy to run this game for all of you. And thank you, my lovely players. We have Kelsey playing Callie. Kelsey, where can we find more of your work or more of you if we want to see what you're doing?
I am on Twitter as Arcane Library, or you can go to thearcanelibrary.com to get some of my D&D material. And I think we have a free thing up right now, like cards for monsters. There's like 54 monsters, and they're like quick references and things. Kind of handy. And also in the DMs Guild, the Arcane Library.
Oh, awesome. Yep, check the Arcane Library on the DMs Guild. Well, thank you so much for playing. We'll look forward to having you back next week.
Thank you.
Anthony playing Alaron, you're welcome. Anthony playing Alaron. Where can we find more of you, Anthony, if we want to see more of your work or what you're at?
You can find me on Instagram at I'llAllowIt.com. I'll allow it. Allow is spelled with the E at the end. And so I'll allow it.
Perfect. And you put some of your art up there, right? You're an illustrator and
I do a lot of art, so you could check out what I'm working on over there. You might even see Alaron up there soon.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about. Is I want you to do illustrations for these three characters that we have now: Snorri, Alaron, and Callie. That'd be sick. At any rate, for the future. And of course, we have our good friend Snorri, who got a little extra focus this session, which I'm very happy about.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. And so, that's just sometimes that'll happen where we will, focus on one character for a little while. But at any rate, where can we find you, Pat, if we want some more of what you're doing?
Sure. The best place to probably follow me is on Twitter at Pat Cartelli. I tweet about all my other things, so that's great. Also, speaking of sketching characters, I doodled Snorri while we were playing, and that's what I have right now.
I love it. That's awesome. That is so cool. We're gonna have to get that up. Oh, let's see your sketch. Yes.
Nice.
Oh, that's
a very cool helmet.
I'm telling you, that's exactly how I see that helmet. So that's sick that you drew it that way. That's awesome. So we'll have some more character art coming up maybe that we can share. I'm Ken Breeze, Burling's Beard. You can find me on my website of the same name, on Twitter, on Instagram. Please do like, subscribe, share if you're enjoying what you're seeing. And we will definitely be back next week to hang out with more of you and find out more about what's going on with these crazy trout folk. Until then, you guys, we'll see you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye.